If we and our government do not implement the simple plan in this video soon, we will become the United States of China. Before I share my simple plan to save our country and get our unemployment down to 1%, I want you to know a few things about my background. First off, I'm a private person and prefer to remain anonymous at this time. However, I may change my mind in the future and go public with my story and my plan. I also want you to know that I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I am simply someone who loves our country and wants to preserve our freedom and liberty. I am receiving absolutely no benefit from making this video, and I hope to inspire anyone that may think of an even better plan to save our country. I began my adult life with no money, no job, but I had a ton of ambition. I finally got my first job delivering pizza for $2 an hour plus tips. Eventually, I was able to save enough money to start my first small business. I now have over 30 years of experience as an entrepreneur, inventor, and business owner. I currently own a multi-million-dollar company and 90% of my products are manufactured in China. I wish 100% of my products were manufactured in the United States. However, I would not be in business if they were. The reason is because there is either no manufacturers for my products in the United States, or the few manufacturers for some of my products charge 2 to 4 times what China charges to manufacture the same product. Nowadays, it is virtually impossible to offer competitive pricing on most products and have them manufactured in the United States. In the 1960s, the United States made 98% of its shoes. Now, the United States makes less than 10% of its footwear. The iconic red radio flyer wagons for children are now made in China. Detroit was once known as the Motor City capital of the world and had over 300,000 manufacturing jobs. Now Detroit has less than 30,000 manufacturing jobs. Nearly all Apple products are made in China by 1 million Chinese workers. I could list thousands of other products that used to be made in the United States that are now made in China and other foreign countries. I have a plan to have 100% of our products manufactured in the United States and for them to be competitively priced. I first need to explain some basic history as to why China is dominating the manufacturing industry. China has taken a few shortcuts that has given them a huge competitive advantage over us in the manufacturing arena. They have used low-wage labor and have overpolluted their own air and water by not using the latest clean technology in manufacturing. If we simply bring back those millions of jobs, we can start to restore our economy and save our planet. It will help to reduce our $20 trillion of debt that may eventually bankrupt our country. It will also get our unemployment rate down to approximately 1%. One of the great things about the United States is that we are the leaders in technology. We have created new and exciting manufacturing methods to make our manufacturing cleaner and more affordable. This now leaves us with only one disadvantage to China. That disadvantage is labor cost, and I have a plan to solve that problem. As we all know, free markets are the best way to be competitive and offer consumers more purchase options at lower prices. Unfortunately, our government has hurt our free market system by implementing policies that simply make no economic sense. Some of these policies are slowly ruining our country and our economy. They sound great when the politicians promote them, however, they always have unintended consequences. There is a big difference between theory and reality. One of these policies is forcing all employers in all industries to pay workers a minimum wage instead of the free market determining wages. Each employer in each industry is different and unique. If our government was more understanding and more flexible, it would solve many of our wage problems. I think it is more important to give people seeking employment the power to decide if they would be willing to temporarily work for a fair wage to help maintain their bills and lifestyle. When an employer cannot afford to hire a person based on a government policy, it ultimately hurts the person seeking employment. Keeping minimum wage in place for most industries would be fine. However, our government needs to show more flexibility in certain industries, especially the manufacturing industry. Before I share my simple plan, it is extremely important for us to all understand the reality and benefits of being employed. The sense of pride and dignity that comes from working is absolutely priceless. Our country's policies have kept so many people from enjoying this sense of pride. Being unemployed can be a very depressing and hopeless feeling. The reality of gaining employment is often based on who you know instead of your skills and work ethic. Nowadays, the typical job search is discovering one job opening and then finding out that there is 100 applicants for that one job. You basically have a 1% chance of getting that job. Also, most jobs now ask that you apply online and fill out an application that is filled with meaningless government-required questions. The applicant never gets an opportunity to show their personality, skills, and reliability. Your job application is ultimately rejected. My plan will fix all of these problems. Being employed has many psychological benefits, including a sense of purpose. It's amazing how many people work for free as a volunteer or non-paid intern just to gain valuable work experience, knowledge, and to feel like they're contributing to making society better. It also gives them a sense of community and expands their social life. If you speak to any unemployed person, immigrant, or a young person, they will always tell you that they would be willing to work for less than minimum wage so they could have the opportunity to prove themselves to be a valuable employee and gain valuable work experience to help build their resume. They also understand they'll have the ability to be promoted to higher positions within the company if they perform well with their new job. Most companies prefer to promote employees from within their own company. Keep in mind that if this plan is ever implemented by our government, that it can be modified in a number of areas and still accomplish its goals. I'm going to share with you a simplified overview of the plan. It is extremely important to remain open-minded and use your common sense when evaluating the plan I'm about to share. So here is the plan, which I have named the Opportunity Program. If a person is unemployed for more than 6 months, they would qualify to work under our country's new Opportunity Program. For most people, the Opportunity Program will provide them with a temporary job and stepping stone for their future working career. They would be issued a special ID card or something similar that qualifies them to work under the Opportunity Program. This would allow a person seeking employment to work for less than minimum wage to get their foot in the door with a manufacturing company. Obviously, if they're reliable, hardworking, and friendly, they will have a great chance at advancement above minimum wage within that manufacturing company. They can even be promoted into management or higher if they show loyalty and value to the company. The great thing about the Opportunity Program is that it's flexible and it gives people a chance to prove themselves as a valuable employee. It is similar to talent shows like American Idol that gave regular people an opportunity to show their talents and be discovered. People like Carrie Underwood and Kelly Clarkson have risen to stardom. Even American Idol contestants that did not win the show still went on to lucrative and rewarding careers thanks to the opportunity that American Idol gave them. Just imagine in 20 years from now how many CEOs will say they got their first job thanks to the Opportunity Program. They were able to get their foot in the door and show their talents and hard work and have risen to fulfill their American dream. Our country will once again be known as the land of opportunity. The Opportunity Program would be limited to only manufacturing companies because the goal is to bring back the millions of jobs that we have lost in the manufacturing industry. Each manufacturer would have the freedom to design their facility and provide whatever perks they think would attract the most valuable employees. These manufacturers would basically be offering paid vocational training, which is something our country desperately needs. In my opinion, the ideal manufacturing facility would provide a very safe, friendly, and clean work environment. I think working 4 days a week would be ideal so you could allow someone the chance to be able to interview on their days off with companies that may offer a higher wage. The manufacturing company would also provide a negotiated hourly wage, free food, and optional housing. If they want to have a more competitive advantage over other manufacturing facilities, they could offer free on-site daycare, a fitness facility, and other extracurricular activities. Please remember that in the real world, many of us build some of our closest friendships with coworkers. Not only will the Opportunity Program provide employment to millions of people, it will also provide social opportunities to build lifelong friendships. Take a moment and just think about what other benefits come from the Opportunity Program. It will make our entire country more prosperous and rich. If we all have more money in our pocket, then we can all live a better life. Money does not make us happy, but it certainly makes life a lot easier and less stressful. Money also solves a lot of problems. Crime goes down, charity goes up, and many of our social issues are solved. The reality is that without money, we are not able to do all the good things we want in the world. Without money, we cannot save the planet, cure diseases, help the homeless, defend our country, educate our children, reduce drug abuse, provide humanitarian efforts, stop terrorism, save Social Security, help immigrants, repair our crumbling infrastructure, save Medicare, and dozens of other major issues. Keep in mind, the Opportunity Program is 100% voluntary and is simply just an opportunity. If a young person is physically healthy and not going to college, they will now have another option. They can be productive and self-sufficient by taking advantage of the Opportunity Program and easily enter the workforce. People will no longer have to work for free as volunteers or non-paid interns. They can now start earning a wage and gain valuable work experience. The vice president of my company has been working for me for over 25 years. He started as a basic laborer making minimum wage and worked his way up to vice president by demonstrating reliability, trust, and hard work. His story will be duplicated by thousands of people that get their first job thanks to the Opportunity Program. Whenever I talk with senior citizens, they always brag about how difficult the work was during their first job. However, they also mention that it was very easy to find their first job. In today's world, someone's first job still requires hard work. However, it is extremely difficult to even find their first job. I believe all young people start their job search with enthusiasm and a goal to become independent. Unfortunately, I have seen too many young people job searching for years without finding a job. You can feel their disappointment and discouragement. It is sad how our society labels young people as lazy and unmotivated, when in reality they're simply exhausted trying to find that first job. It's literally a full-time job just trying to find a job. With the Opportunity Program, young people will no longer be stereotyped as lazy and will now have the option to easily find work. Another major benefit of the Opportunity Program is that if we put millions of unemployed people to work, that all wages in all industries will naturally increase. The reason is because of simple supply and demand. Manufacturing companies will have to compete to attract the best talent and therefore will offer a more attractive compensation package. More consumers will have extra spending money and will buy more products and services, which will help all industries and all wages. How important is manufacturing in the United States? It is vital, and without strong manufacturing in the United States, our country will eventually go bankrupt. We are currently the leaders in technology. However, our own technology is destroying old-fashioned businesses, and our unemployment will continue to rise without new manufacturing jobs. Look at how many businesses have already gone out of business because of technology. Newspapers, magazines, bookstores, record stores, video rental shops, and thousands of other brick-and-mortar retailers. I'm sure you've seen shopping malls with empty stores making the shopping center look like a ghost town. Online shopping is slowly putting brick-and-mortar retailers out of business. I think technology is great and it makes our lives much better. However, we need to be aware of how important it is to bring back manufacturing to the United States to save our country and keep people employed. One of the great things about manufacturing is that it goes hand in hand with technology. Our technology creates better and cleaner manufacturing. Manufacturing turns our amazing technology into products that make our lives better and healthier. Our country is the leader in technology, and now it is time for our country to also be the leader in manufacturing. You may be thinking to yourself, how might this affect our current manufacturing jobs in the United States? First, it is important to understand that most current manufacturing of products in the United States are from very small companies that cannot afford the time or money to have their products made in China. To have a product made in China, you have to order a minimum quantity of units, wait several months to get the product, pay up front for the product, and have a trusted contact in China. As you can see, having products made in China is primarily for medium to large-sized businesses. My opinion is that the current employees of small manufacturing companies in the United States will greatly benefit from the Opportunity Program. The existing employees will most likely be promoted to higher positions within the company to help train and oversee the new employees that are hired. Keep in mind that most companies prefer to promote from within their own company. Now that products will be less expensive from small manufacturing companies, their sales will naturally go up and they will naturally need more management positions to oversee, train, and help the new employees being hired. The Opportunity Program is a win-win situation for new and current employees of manufacturing companies. It is so important that we all understand and appreciate business owners that work so hard and risk so much to make our lives better. They may have borrowed money or used their life savings to start their new business. Unfortunately, most new business owners go out of business within the first few years. The small percentage of new business owners that do succeed must sacrifice spending precious time with friends and family to help decrease the risk of losing their life savings. Many business owners work 7 days a week, 12 to 14 hours a day just to keep their business afloat. It is sad how our mainstream media villainizes entrepreneurs and business owners as bad people because they're successful. The reality is that some of the kindest and most generous people in the world are business owners. Keep in mind that if a business owner is not providing a quality service or product for the consumer, then that business will go out of business very quickly. Business owners offer products and services that make our lives easier and more enjoyable, and those business owners deserve a round of applause. Do not believe the myth that government creates jobs, because the fact is that business owners and entrepreneurs are the ones that create jobs. What has made our country great is the amazing innovation created by our entrepreneurs and business owners. Please understand that when our government overtaxes and overregulates our American businesses, they are simply biting the hands that feed us. Once again, business owners are the ones creating jobs and feeding us and our families. Some politicians promote the myth that you can simply overtax the business owners to get our economy under control. The reality is that if you take 100% of the money from the top 1% of U.S. earners, you will not even make a dent in our debt and other economic problems. In fact, the unintended consequences will be devastating. If we overtax entrepreneurs and business owners, they will simply leave our country and run their businesses in a low-tax or no-tax country. You may have noticed that this trend has already started. If you do a simple search, you will see that many large companies have moved all or part of their business to Ireland and other countries. Whenever the government hurts an employer by over-regulating and over-taxation, they are ultimately hurting the employees of that company and the American economy. The employers that end up leaving our country also end up laying off thousands of employees. The world is becoming very westernized, and many low-tax and no-tax countries are now using the US dollar as their currency. Many of these countries speak English or have adopted English as their alternative language. They also have a very nice culture and way of life. In fact, English is the official language in over 40 countries. Nowadays, it is very easy and very appealing to leave the United States as an entrepreneur and business owner. I am considering moving myself and my business out of the country if we continue down this path of economic destruction, which will ultimately bankrupt our country. If the Opportunity Program is not implemented soon, more companies will have to move their business out of the country or will have to replace workers with machines, robots, and automation. Put yourself in the shoes of a business owner. You must be able to compete and make a profit to stay in business. Unfortunately, our government has no clue how important being able to compete and making a profit is to keeping a business alive. The government bureaucrats simply take money from business owners in the form of overtaxation. They also force them to pay wages that do not make sense compared to the duties being performed and the worldwide competition. This is a recipe for disaster, and that is why companies are leaving the United States and using automation to replace workers. Some politicians think creating a high tax or tariff on products imported from China is the solution to bringing back manufacturing to the United States, but I strongly disagree with those politicians. The only thing a high tax or tariff will do right now is increase the product's retail price to American consumers. Because the only way a business can make up the difference after paying the tariff is to increase the price of their products. To bring back manufacturing to the United States, we have to do something big. Unfortunately, a high tax or tariff is not enough to motivate companies to bring manufacturing back in the United States, and the tariff will ultimately backfire. The high tax or tariff can be a great idea if it's combined with the Opportunity Program. The high tax or tariff without the Opportunity Program is like going on a road trip in your car and running out of gas halfway there. China has been quietly investing billions of dollars in every major continent in the world. They are slowly taking over the world, and the United States is number one on their list. Once our country goes bankrupt, China will scoop up our country like a cheap asset. China is a very smart country with very savvy business people. China also uses a tactic known as currency manipulation to make manufacturing more attractive in their country. The good news is that the Opportunity Program will crush their currency manipulation tactic. Hopefully, our politicians will be smart enough to implement the Opportunity Program before we become the United States of China. The biggest threat to our national security is our country's $20 trillion of debt. Some politicians claim we are a wealthy nation, which is absolutely ridiculous. How can being $20 trillion in debt make us a wealthy nation? It's like saying a family that has a house and a car that has $50,000 in credit card debt, a monthly mortgage, and a monthly car payment is a wealthy family. It is all just an illusion. Real wealth is being debt-free and having more money coming in than you spend, and also having a large savings account for emergency situations. It is just basic economics. We the people need to take back our country and stop voting for politicians that are leading us down a path of destruction by telling us what we want to hear just so they get our vote. Most politicians paint a very dreamy theory of how they can make our country better, when in reality they have no clue what it takes to make our country prosperous. We are one of the most economically irresponsible countries in the world, and we should all be embarrassed about that fact. The reality is that it's very hard for most Americans to understand and see our economic problems because they are so focused on their own day-to-day lives, which is understandable. This is one of the reasons I created this video, so the busy average American can be educated and see how our government and senseless politicians are ruining our great country. Whenever I hear one of our politicians courageous enough to talk about our $20 trillion of debt, it seems like most people don't pay attention or don't even care about it. As a country, it seems like we're numb and desensitized to our debt and also the crazy amount of interest we're paying on that debt. It reminds me of a naive person that waits until all their credit cards are maxed out, and then it finally hits them that they're in big trouble and their life starts spinning out of control. This is basically the direction our country is going in. Our country has been living beyond its means for decades. If we go bankrupt, we cannot do any good in the world for ourselves and our neighbors. The great news is that the Opportunity Program is the solution to save our great nation and preserve our freedom and liberty. The Opportunity Program will create millions of new jobs in the manufacturing industry. It will also create millions of new jobs in the construction industry because we will need to build the new high-tech and modern manufacturing plants around the United States. It will also stop China from ruining our planet by overpolluting our precious air and water with their dirty manufacturing. I encourage you to share this plan and this video with friends, politicians, and the media. Our founding fathers never envisioned us to be $20 trillion in debt and having millions of unemployed people in our great country. If we all spread the word about the Opportunity Program, we will remain the United States of America and be stronger and safer than ever.